And welcome to the Olympic Stadium in Mexico City. A truly Olympian setting for a very, very important second round game, France and Italy, as we see the Italian lineup.
And the only significant change in the Italian lineup is Di Janeiro has come out of center midfield, and in comes Giuseppe Perez, and we think with the task of marking Michel Platini. And in the France lineup, there's only one change there too. Dominique Rocheteau is back in the team, and Jean-Pierre Papin is out.
And the game is underway. The world champions Italy against the European champions of 1984 France. A great French midfield against a stout Italian defense. Large crowd in Olympic Stadium, seen in 1968 of so many fine performances, some of them with the advantage of altitude, such as Lee Evans' world record 43.8 for the 400 meters, and the great Bob Beeman's 29 feet 2.5 for the long jump, still the greatest jump ever achieved in the world. France in white, Italy in blue. And as we saw when Belgium and the Soviet Union played, anything men do well and with everything they have in them is well worth watching, and we hope we can see that again today as these two finely matched European sides play in this second round game. So the first kick of the game to Italy. Low drive blocked by France and into touch for an Italian throw. France in their 9th World Cup. Italy in their 11th. 3 times winners. Stopyra, Gires to Michel Platini. But a free kick being given by the referee, Carlos Esposito of Argentina, who is a shoemaker, a 44-year-old shoemaker. And we hope that his shoes stand him in good stead and enable him to cover this ground quickly enough to be on the spot to make instantaneous and important decisions.
We saw the referee get into the game very quickly there for that tackle by Di Napoli, so I'm sure that he's going to try and keep this game in control, because both teams wanting to go through. I'm sure with the lovely midfield of France, there could be a few tackles coming in.
Stopyra was in there and got his head to that, and a little bit of scrambling in the Italian goal mouth for a moment, and Galli pleased to secure that ball and sets the Italians en route to the French penalty area. Italy's turn to threaten France in the French half. Cabrini. Di Napoli loses possession, but the referee's whistle goes, and it will be a kick to Italy. Italy, Squadra Azzurra, the blue squad, able to stay in their blue today. France it is who have to change their color from their familiar blue shirt to a predominantly white-colored shirt.
And in this game, of course, history is on Italy's side. The only other 2 meetings in World Cup play.
And that's just off a French leg for the first corner. Alphabelli, Big Pin as he is known, or as he's more recently been christened, Billy the Kid, because of his goatee beard, claiming that corner off a French leg. So the first corner of the game to Italy, and Bruno Conti, who played so well in 1982, over on the left side to take it. The referee very wisely keeping the photographers back. We saw an incident yesterday in the Argentina-Uruguay game of a player hurting his head on one of the camera boxes. The referee checks that all is safe. Short corner for Italy. Conti challenged by Jean Tigana, and it's a corner again. So the second corner to Italy. 1 free kick and 2 corners. Italy doing the early pressing. Bagny on the 6-yard line. Conti's cross. Bagny got to it first, but it's into touch and an Italian throw. The pressure continues. Alan Gires losing possession. Still the Italian ball. Bagny. Bergomi. Tigana off Tigana's foot, and another Italian throw. All the early play in the French half. Italy doing the pressing. Cabrini to take the throw. Conti getting a sharp rap on the ankle for his troubles. The referee, Mr. Esposito, agrees with Conti, and Conti will take this kick. Dangerous position. Italy camping in the French half. A whistle goes. Free kick to France to relieve the pressure. And good to see Joel Bat in the French goal, but we notice his right knee very heavily taped. Some doubt as to his fitness. He passed the fitness test, so Albert Rousse, the reserve goalkeeper who played on the French Olympic team, denied an opportunity of appearing in the World Cup. France going with the experienced backs and hoping that his knee will stand up to the pressures of this game. And now attacking down the left side, a ball into the middle, Rocheteau waiting for it, but an Italian interception and into touch.
So far, of course, Italy having just a slight advantage here has dealt quite well with the French midfield because they haven't given them a chance to get going because Italy's managed to retain the ball, and they're going to have to keep trying to do this.
Bossi fighting hard, and the referee calling a foul. Crowd responding. Tension in this Olympic stadium. High expectations from the supporters of both sides. Italy into the French half. Galdarese to Conti. Switch to the right side now. Ball for Galdarese, but an interception by France. Amoros to Battiston to Platini. Tigana in support, diagonally to the left. Alain Giresse chips it to Rocheteau. That was a handball there claimed. The referee agrees, and that dangerous situation stifled as a result of a Rocheteau handball.
But we could see there what happens when Platini gets a bit of time, and Platini and Giresse have that bit of time to get together. Very dangerous situation for Italy.
Nice challenge for possession, Stopyra, but the Italian defense accepting and dealing with the challenge so far. Cabrini. Inside to Di Napoli. Galdarese, but good French covering by Tigana. Cabrini. Platini, sorry. Getting mixed with my Italian and French name. Nice ball to the right side for Ayash. Stopyra's in the center, so is Rocheteau. And Italy very, very pleased to concede that corner. Some pressure there from the two French strikers, Rocheteau and Stopyra.
It's a very difficult cross to deal with because he hit this ball very hard and low, and it's a hard ball to clear away for the defender there, as you can see, and I'm sure he's just happy to see it go up and over the net.
Always the danger of putting it into his own goal. Now Alain Giresse going over to take this corner. Very quick one to Rocheteau. Across, Platini's head to it, but harmless. So goal kick to Italy. There's the red armband to denote the captaincy to Michel Platini, one of the world's great footballers. Di Napoli in midfield. Italy trying the right side. Bruno Conti switched from left to right. Galdarese being dispossessed. Referee waves play on. Michel Platini comes back for it. Drops deep for the ball, sends the ball deep for Amoros. Beats his man beautifully. Stopyra was waiting there, but the ball badly directed, and Italy come away with it. Cabrini up the left side. Bagné beats Platini, takes it a little too far, but Aldabel is there on hand. Cabrini with it. Finds big sin on the left side, beats his man, takes it down the left touchline. Just doing a little too much, but still Italian possession in the form of Cabrini, and the cross goes in, but only to France. A little bit of misunderstanding in the French penalty area. They have to be very careful of that. Bat coming out in anticipation, and his defender moving it away as he sensed danger, and the ball is into touch from Tigana for an Italian throw. And we have 10 minutes gone in this tension-filled first half. They're playing at over 7,300 feet, and in the midday heat and some humidity here in Mexico City. So a difficult physical task in addition to the challenge of the opposition in this Olympic Stadium. And it will be a kick to France for a foul on Michel Platini. Platini having a word just to check the understanding with the referee, Mr. Carlos Esposito of Argentina, aided on the lines by Jose Martinez Bazan of Uruguay and Jesus Palacio Diaz of Colombia. So it's a kick to France. Sound Italian head by Scirea. Amoros to Tigana. Somewhat speculative ball into the area, easily secured by Italy, and Conti tries to move down the right wing, and Amoros saves that ball but gives it to Italy. There, Gomi to Scirea, the captain. De Napoli waiting for it in the center circle. Tries the through ball, but it's a free kick for that tackle by Ayash.
Altobelli, of course, getting some very special attention because Italy, in getting through to this round with a 4-point, scored 4 goals, and that man there, Altobelli, is a scorer of all 4 goals.
Stockings are adjusted, and the long and rangy Altobelli is on his feet again. Joel Bat, with a heavily bandaged right knee, organizes his defense. They're a very sound 10 yards back. And the free kick to Italy with 12 minutes of the first half gone and no score. The overrun of the ball didn't fool anybody. Now the kick is taken. Long drive by Cabrini. First bounce there before Joel Bat, who did well to get the body well behind that ball. But we had an Italian in an offside position, and it will be a free kick to France, which Bat, who fortunately is a left footer, predominantly a left footer, will take. That looks to be pretty heavily strapped knee, Sam.
Very much so, and I'm sort of surprised when we've seen the Italians take some corners that they've taken short ones and they haven't put in some balls to try and put him under pressure, but they are taking some shots from long range, and I think they want to test to see what flexibility or range his knee even has.
Galdorisi flicks that one on, but no Italian in support, and so France will come away with it. Jean Tigana. French midfield quartet not really settled to run as smoothly and as efficiently as we have come to expect, but it's early days yet. We are not yet through to 15 minutes of this first half. In fact, about 13 gone.
In fact, that's one of the things I think we've noticed in the other games where we've seen France. That midfield takes a while to get going, but once it does, that's what Italy has to watch out for.
Alain Giresse. Nice flick in by Battiston. Rocheteau waiting, but not able to get onto that ball. And so Italy come away, and the ball's into touch. Played so far in a very good spirit, and the Labatt CB series will return after this message. And welcome back to a jubilant Mexico City and Olympic Stadium, and the tricolor of France is flying, and this is why.
As Platini breaks in, just flicks it over the coming galley, but it was started by Fernandez in the midfield, flipped through to Giresse, through to Platini, and here it is, just a little, lots of composure, flicks it over the galley as he's coming down.
So that all-important first goal scored by the great Michel Platini for France. France 1, Italy 0. 15 minutes gone in this first half, so the European champions score first over the world champions, and the red, white and blue tricolor of France dancing wildly in this huge crowd at Olympic Stadium.
And France making it look so easy with 3 passes. They were in, and Platini with a marvelous finish to score. So I'm sure this will open the game up a little bit. Italy has lots of time, but now they are goal down.
And to young players, as we watch this free kick given against France, to young players watching that, Cool, calm and collected by Platini. Didn't try to blast the cover off the ball, but took it very calmly and put it where it matters, over that goal line to put France 1 goal ahead. Joel Bat punches that ball out and clears the danger for France. Maroc down the left side, but that will be a free kick to France. And the yellow card issued to Italy. Number 13 it was, Fernando Di Napoli, who received that yellow card from the referee, Mr. Esposito of Argentina. Pushing the ball through. Altobelli. Bergomi tries the right side. Bruno Conti waiting. Good run by Baresi. But a badly directed full-back pass there, which France are pleased to clear. Stopyra going for it. Italy coming away with it. Cabrini, nice footwork, but gives possession instead to Stopyra, but it's a free kick to Italy. Now the game livening up as a result of that coolly taken goal by Michel Platini.
And speaking of that goal by Michel Platini, he has scored, as we see the goal coming up again, starting in the midfield. Fernandez making a good run through, drawing some players, knocks it through to Jaurès, and then there's Platini. And such a cool finish, and that makes it goal number 40 in 67 internationals for Platini. So a proven goal scorer and a great European footballer of the year.
And the contest between Platini and Maradona continues for who is the best player in the world. Both have shown us their magic, and that was a beautifully taken goal by Michel Platini. France 1 goal in the lead. The crowd becoming increasingly involved in this game, and that goal certainly having stimulated increased action in Olympic Stadium. And that ball is off a French foot, and it will be an Italian corner. John Tigana complaining. The defense doing a lot of speaking to one another, as we see Fernandez on the edge of the area now coming back to lend a hand in defense, and here comes the Italian cross. And that was close, beautifully knocked down by Altobelli. Vieirkawad was on hand and got his strike in, but very, very lucky there for France to scramble that one away. That could have been equal terms, was not to be, and so France still lead with 19 minutes of the first half gone.
Their first long corner that they took over to the back post, and it worked for them. Very unlucky.
Italy now fighting back well. Di Napoli, referee says play on. Platini in possession. It was a nice try with a through ball to Rocheteau. And we see an Italian down being helped by a Frenchman. Bagny coming down the left. Bruno Conti, who's wandered from right to left this time, puts the ball back to the supporting Vieirkawad. Bergomi to the right now. Italy trying to spread the French defense. Galdarese tries to beat 2 men and does. Tries to beat the third and doesn't. And the referee gives the foul on Galdarese. Another threatening position for this Italian set play. Altobelli places it. Bruno Conti is there. So is Cabrini. One would expect perhaps Conti to take this kick.
He's very good at bending balls, much like some of the South Americans, and we've seen him score some great goals at it. But then again, Altobelli can shoot well too. So what they need to do, though, is make the most out of this, because they may not get that many chances, so they have to make the most and get themselves back in the game.
The wall is back. The French defenders are still arguing one with another. Joel Vance has organised his wall. Here it comes. It's struck by Conti, but the wall, once again, as we've seen so many times in this World Cup 86, does its job. And Giresse puts it back and gets a flick back from Amoros. And now to Joel Vance. Battiston. Fernandez. France coming out slowly. Got support on the left side. Elects to go through the middle. Into the Italian territory. Foul by Galdarese, kick to France.
Fernandez there again coming through the middle, and I'm surprised that no Italian defenders are coming out to meeting them, all backing in, and that's what causes them in trouble on the last goal, someone not coming out to mark it.
Again, despite the importance of this game, only the winner can go through, of course, into the quarterfinals. It is being played in a very good spirit. And that is very good to see. Tigana found himself space here. Bends it beautifully to Stopyra, but it's a little too far. But Stopyra still in possession, pushes it back to Amoros. Giresse was handy. Roscoe got his head to it, but not with any opportunity to direct. Platini has a quick word. Platini in a position here, of course, of playing for Juventus in the Italian league and having some of his teammates to play against, but he said earlier that there would be no sentimentality in this game. As the French captain, he's out to have a victory for France.
But he's showing us what Maradona as a captain did yesterday. He seems to be in the game all the time. He's floating around, not staying in one position, finding himself lots of room.
De Napoli. Conti on the right. Nice flick into De Napoli. Good tackling back there by Amoros. France looking confident and going into their tackles with good timing and plenty of vigor to secure that ball. Michel Platini. Tigana lying handily. Out to Fernandez. Found himself lots of space on the left side. Tries a long one, and that was not very far away.
Right now, it looks like the Italians are giving Platini and Fernandez, especially here as he gets a chance to dribble all the way in and then take a shot. Look at all the Italians lined up in the penalty area. They're just backing in too far by the looks of it.
And that was close, and Galli, I'm not sure, was perfectly ready for that one. Conti selecting the left touchline this time. Chance for Bass to come out, but he hesitates a little bit. And Battiston, it was the sweeper who cleared it. But now France with a chance to come away. Tigana waving on the left side. Platini sees Alain Giresse in space. Rosto's out on the left side. Giresse puts it through the middle for Stopyra, but the Italians intercept. French midfield beginning to move into gear, I think, Sam.
Yes, very much so. But again, they're finding an awful lot of room to play, and it's very surprising that the Italian team's giving them that much room.
Bagny. Back safely clearing and setting the French side off on the left side, Amoros. Both sides now with enough experience of playing in these conditions to know how to pace themselves. John Tigana to Rosto. Deep back heel to Platini and a chip to Jean Tigana. And France on the rampage now, well into the Italian half. Here comes the cross. But a very good head away, Viekawad. France still in possession, moving it about, and that's a long one, but that's climbing as it goes over the goal line. Almost 25 minutes gone in this first half. France ahead, 1-0, scored by their captain, Michel Platini.
We thought that Platini might be marked in this game by the substitute Barisi, but it doesn't seem to be. And I think what Platini's doing that's doing really well for him is he's going very deep to pick up the ball, and the Italians are letting him have it there. But that's giving him time to pick out men, which Italy may have to deal with sooner or later.
And there's no one better in this game at picking out men in space than Michel Platini. Di Napoli in possession for Italy. To Baresi. Tries a longer one, but there are Frenchmen back in numbers. Ayash trying to come round his man, but it will be Conti who secures that ball. Tries to beat men on his own on the left side. Looks across quickly for support. Dummies a back heel. He's dispossessed. The referee says play on. And Alain Giresse it is with the ball. And the tall, long-legged Fernandez moving through the middle. Support on the left. Bossi still moving on the left side. Platini sees him, but looks around and changes direction. Just nudges the ball back to Fernandez. Bossi now gains the ball, a just reward for his running. Pushes it inside to Platini. A nice little flick to Rocheteau, but Bergomi had him well covered.
We saw something interesting happen there as Platini got the ball that Herrera came out to meet him twice, and he's the sweeper, the free man, so I think they finally sorted themselves out that if Platini starts to come through, he's going to come out of the back to pick him up. But then it just leaves everybody else one-on-one behind him.
Herrera, of course, a Juventus teammate of Platini. This is his third World Cup too, so lots of experience. A very competent and steady defender, but he'll have his hands full if he's trying to take on Platini. And a touch for Joel Bass. Tigana comes back for it and receives. Alain Giresse, little pocket Hercules, beautiful player. Just the tiniest nudge to Michel Platini, who looks and sees someone on the left, but not quite enough strength on that pass. Italy in possession. To Bagni. Nudges it through, but to a French defender. Platini. Giresse immediately alongside, but he's looking for men at greater distance and finds supporting in the rear Jean Tigana. To Giresse. The French midfield now beginning to find their touch. This, therefore, threatening for Italy. Ayat, a nice ball inside to Stopyra, tries to lift it over his head and go through, but he's checked there. Heavily checked, and this will be a very, very dangerous free kick right on the edge of the area for France. Herrera, the hard man there, took Stopyra down heavily.
And again, they're just giving us too much room. He's a lovely little backfield to beat him, and then Herrera, with what we call a professional penalty, stuck his elbow up to slow him down a little bit. But again, the Italians are just giving the French midfield too much room to be able to pick players out, and right now they're sort of picking them apart in the back of that defense.
Crowd respond to the camera, and World Cup 86 on CBC Sports will continue after this message.
Looking for tips on outdoor cooking? Ask a 50 problem solver.
Hey, do you remember when we hooked up my bicycle to the barbecue to make the spit turn?
Boy, did we cycle for our supper, eh?
Sure did.
Hey, but whose idea was it to drill holes through the bone in the roast to put the spit in, huh?
You're also the one who promised fish for dinner. I see corn on the cob was biting today.
You'll never find a better bunch.
Fifty's the one. You'll never find a better beer.
You got it. Say, do you like lettuce, onions, pickles, real cool? Then you're gonna love what this side's got.
And when you taste the sizzle of McDonald's pure beef, you go crazy for the side that's hot.
And when McDonald's adds tomato, mayo, processed cheese
To the great taste, 100% pure beef.
it's two-part
Harmony, that's McDLT.
McDLT is how McDonald's makes lettuce and tomatoes sing.
It's a good time for the great taste of McDonald's.
And a Platini free kick there, which Galli was delighted to get that right hand on and palm that ball over for a corner. But there, a foul on.
And he did well to palm it away, but again, the wall did its job, made Platini shoot to one side where Galli was. But again, he had to be quick to make that save.
And that was as a result of a foul on Stopyra. And a kick right on the edge of the area, which is always dangerous with Platini about. But here's a corner to France taken by Giresse. But Galli timing his leap well and catching cleanly. But very fortunate to get a hand on that free kick from Platini. And it could have been France 2, Italy 0, as it is with 30 minutes gone in this first half. The score is France 1, Italy 0, as a result of a coolly taken goal by the captain, Michel Platini. Tigana tackling back. Battiston, the sweeper. Plenty of space on the left side for France. Alain Giresse. Italy giving them a lot of space. Here's Fernandez. Tries another long one, and that's the crossbar again. He's hit two beauties from long range, and that one was almost underneath that crossbar, and Galli was unprepared for it.
Fernandez must know something about Galli that we don't, because that's the second time he's tried a long shot, and you could see him when he started to dribble. He had full intention of shooting, and what a tremendous shot. And Galli was either a little bit asleep there, or must turn around and say thank you very much to the crossbar.
Platini again, and we're beginning to see France impose themselves on this game. They've certainly had the better of this first half and are well worthy of their one-goal lead. Altobelli coming back for it. But France beginning to play this ball around now with an increasing amount of confidence. Italy have got to start marking more tightly and challenging France at an earlier point, because France are beginning to dominate, and they're finding an amazing amount of space. Baresi. It's against Baresi. And so another opportunity for France. More players than Platini can take the free kicks for France, and many of them can weave their magic on this wall, particularly at this altitude, but it is Platini who takes the majority of them. But they're by no means a one-man show. And certainly now that they have Rocheteau and Stopyra threatening as strikers, this midfield have two good target men to send these balls to. And the wall was adequate to that one, but France retained possession. There's Platini with a run to the far post, and that was a very questionable one.
As we saw yesterday with Maradona, he's very good at drawing fouls, and I think Platini knew he wasn't going to get to this, bumped into the defender, hoping to draw a penalty kick.
And Baresi went down with him. Now it's Italy in possession. Bagni. Italy certainly nowhere near as settled and confident and smooth as France. And Stopyra challenges Chirea. Clears it well, but Fernandez was on hand, and that ball is into touch. The Argentinian referee will give a kick there, as Fernandez looks appealingly into his eyes. Fernandez, who has hit those two superbly struck long drives, one not very far wide, and the second one a goal saved only by the ever collaborative crossbar. So kick to France. Amoros will take. Amoros has been very strong in the tackle in this game. But the Italian head gets to it. Chirea, and there's a long one, the highest of the day. And that will cause absolutely no problems to Galli, other than the concern as to whether it will return from the crowd.
Right now, of course, the difference is the midfield of France. They're just playing, they're getting lots of room. And as far as Italy goes right now, they don't have anyone in the midfield that's managed to take control, so their build-ups have been very sporadic.
So Italy now faced with a major challenge in coming back, because they have been somewhat outplayed in this first half. They are a goal down, and we're running towards the 35-minute mark of this first half. Quick kick to Italy. Conti threatening to take it, but Alain Giresse hobbling a little. So a little more time now for both attackers and defenders to settle. Italy with the advantage, of course, of knowing what they want to do with this set play. France having to react to it. Conti, who delighted us with his skills in 82, to take this free kick for Italy. Altobelli moving into the center. French defenders watching their markers very carefully. Chipped in, but it's the French head on it. A second chance for Conti. Moves out to the left side of the penalty area. Well challenged by Giresse. Tries to take on too many men. And now Giresse overdoes it, and it's a throw to Italy. Chance of a long throw, but it's a quickly taken throw by Conti, and a chance for the cross. Cabrini gets ahead to it, but unable to get on top of it and direct it under. But a challenge there by the Italian defender, Cabrini.
And a good cross by Conti that comes floated across. Cabrini rises up very well to meet it, gets above his defender, but couldn't get up high enough to be able to head it down.
Antonio Cabrini plays for Juventus. It's his third World Cup. One of the world's finest left backs, and he showed his ability and willingness there to get up and attack. Good chase there between Stopyra and the defense, but it's Stopyra who is guilty of the foul on Vietchewad, and so it's a kick to Italy. Italy now having 10 minutes left in this first half to get on terms with France. Bagni puts it to the right. Bergomi. Bagni again. Beats his man nicely. Looks for help, doesn't find it readily available, and France it is in possession, and the long-legged Fernandez. Rossito hoping to go forward in support, not quite in position, and the danger is cleared, and a chance for Italy to counter-attack. De Napoli, hot in Olympic Stadium. These players will be glad of this half-time break, but they have 8 minutes left to play, and France lead Italy 1-0. Linesman's flag is up, and it's a throw to Italy. Referee says it's a kick. The long-legged Altobelli takes it. Got support on the right side. And a nice, confident catch by Joel Bat. Not showing any ill effect to his heavily taped knee.
Came out and met that cross really well, but there was Cabrini challenging him again, so Cabrini's made his mind up to come forward, and he's one of the better fullbacks at doing that, and that's what Italy needs to have.
And Italy press again, but they have a man isolated in an offside position, and a kick to France. Taken quickly, Michel Platini. Tigana moving in the center circle. Amps left to Amarov. Platini back in support to the rear. Giresse, a nice little touch. Stopyra tries to flick to Rocheteau. Not quite on, but the intention was very good indeed. Lots of inspiration and flair there. But Italy on the left side coming out. Bagni. Conti and Altobelli forward. Galdarese pushes the ball through, looks for the return, and Italy a free kick. Cabrini it was who was fouled. Italy will get the free kick, and Conti will take it. Good Italian jumpers moving up. Altobelli's in there. Bergomi moving up. Here it comes. That's not the sort of cross that will secure goals when it's driven at a defender, and a chance for France to break. Fernandez puts it out to Batic on the sweeper, coming on a foray upfield. Plenty of Frenchmen forward. Giresse. Platini tries a run, Giresse tries a shot, and it's to no avail, and the Labatt TV series will return in a moment.
We work the CN way because our prairie's wealth depends on an efficient railway to keep costs down and make our grain competitive in distant lands. We work to increase that efficiency with double track and high-tech fiber optics cables underground, working towards a lean, compact efficiency to serve our country better, making CN fit for the world ahead.
Until you try Gillette's Foamy Smooth for sensitive skin, enriched with skin lubricants, you're missing out on the smoothest foamy shave ever. Foamy Smooth lets your razor glide across your face, so you get a close shave with exceptional comfort. Gillette Foamy Smooth for sensitive skin, the smoothest foamy ever.
Welcome back to Mexico City and Olympic Stadium, where France lead Italy by 1 goal. Michel Platini, the scorer, and Italy in the last 5 minutes of this first half beginning to push more men forward, as surely they must. Bruno Conti trying to get that cross and injured as a result. I think it was a foot-to-foot contact with the French defender, Ayat. And yellow card has been issued to Ayash. And my partner immediately indicates to me that that is 2 yellow cards for Ayash. So if France are to win this game, Ayash will have to sit out the next round, the quarterfinals.
Which would be a very difficult game for him because it'll be against Brazil in Guadalajara.
Rather daunting prospect for the winner of this game to go against Brazil, which is improving with every outing. But Ayash, given the yellow card by the referee, so will sit out the next game if in fact France continue to lead this. That's a good header out there, but a chance there on the volley for Italy and a second opportunity. Galdarese trying to take men on the edge of the box, and that ball will just roll out for a corner. So Italy a chance to threaten with 4 minutes, a little over 4 minutes left in this first half. Bergami went high for that ball, but he was pushing as well as jumping, according to the referee's decision, and therefore a kick to France.
Some very good pressure by Italy here. They're finally starting to put a few men forward, and they've got some good pressure and had a couple of chances. And I think they need to keep doing that when they come out in the second half, because after this game you lose, you go home, and I'm sure they don't want to go home.
But at present, they are down a goal to France. Joel Batz, the French goalkeeper, just poised with the ball and then flicks it to Amarov. Leaves it back from Amarov and will punch it downfield. One of the long drop-kicking balls from Joel Batz resulted in a French goal. A nice flick on with the outside of his right foot by Michel Platini, and France scored. But not on that occasion, and Conti was well offside, and a kick to France. Hot in Mexico City in the Olympic Stadium today. The same stadium that was literally awash when South Korea played Bulgaria. Recovered quite well, not too many signs of wet, slippery areas today. Alain Giresse. Chance for France to mount an attack in the dying minutes of this first half. We make it on our unofficial timing, about 2.5 minutes remaining. Di Napoli just threw of a little divot there. We were talking about the condition of the pitch. Galdarese turns it inside. Bagni looking for Altobelli, but straight to a French head, and in turn back to Joel back in the French goal.
Very promising sign, though. The Italians are looking a lot sharper, getting to the ball quicker, and they're starting to play their game now. It's taken them a little while to come out of it. Hopefully it won't be too late for them.
Michel Platini. France walking these last few minutes, trying to get a longer rest than half-time, starting it a little early. They must be careful. Michel Platini. John Tigana in space in the middle too. But Platini finds Alain Giresse wandering towards the right, and there's support here for Giresse. But he goes inside, watches to a very neat back heel, and Galli scrambles out to save the threat, but that might have been dangerous. French players there showing some artistry, probably overdoing it a little bit, and a chance for a break by Italy, but safely back to that.
That is where Italy is at their most dangerous. As France comes forward, Italy is renowned for their quick counterattacks, and all of a sudden they're starting to get a few chances.
Platini. Fernandez. Change figure now because he has his soft roller rather than round his ankles, which is more the custom for him. Long chip, trying to find Rocheteau, but nowhere near the target. Throw to Italy. To Napoli. That ball's too far, and Ayash, who will be a spectator in the next game because of his second yellow card, gives back to the goalkeeper back. Conti hovers on the fringes of the area, hoping for some major mistake by France. In the dying minutes of this half, we make it 44 minutes gone. France lead 1-0. John Tigana. Tackled from behind by Di Napoli. So a dangerous kick with seconds left in this first half for France. Now it looks as if we'll have a change of kicker. John Tigana will take this. We said there were more than Platini who can take free kicks effectively for France. We have the tall Fernandez in the area, Platini's in the area, the small Girette in the area, presumably waiting for knockdowns. A lot of hustle and bustle, and that's a dreadful kick by Jean Tigana. Maybe they should have brought Platini in to take it anyway. But there's a chance still for France. Italy a little bit disorganized there. We're now playing additional time for stoppages as Italy thrusts down the left side. Bruno Conti. But that ball is misdirected, and it's an easy one for Joel Bat. He pushes it out quietly, and France begin the slow build. Certainly not been under any major pressure in these last 2 or 3 minutes, and able to cruise their way into half-time, a goal ahead. That's it. Referee Carlos Esposito blows his whistle. That's the end of the first half. France are ahead 1-0. And I think deservedly so.
I think very much so, on the fact that their midfield came into their own about 15 minutes into that first half and played some lovely touches. And it was a midfield that got together for the goal, with Platini finishing it off with just a lovely touch.
And World Cup 86 on CBC Sports will continue after this message.
André Lachapelle knows quality when she sees it.
When people talk about the good life, what they really mean is good friends. So when I offer my friends a beer, I give them the best.
John Labatt Classic, carefully Krausen brewed in small quantities. One of the world's longest aged beers.
My friends and I agree. Classic tastes smooth and rich. It's a truly exceptional beer.
Make yours the best.
John Labatt Classic.
Fill up with the Frantics in off-the-wall, on-the-floor laughing stuff. 4 on the Floor on CBC Television, Thursday. Don't miss it.
Couldn't live with myself if I didn't.
CBC 6 presents the Benson and Hedges International Fireworks Competition. 8 countries will be competing for the coveted trophy in the musical and classical categories. Don't miss this television premiere, June 23rd, 7 p.m., here on CBC 6.
Baseball excitement's in the cards. The Expos on CBC Television. Complete coverage of all the crucial matchups. This season, the deck is stacked with ace players. Raines, Dawson, Reardon, Smith, Law, Wallach. It's a full house of a lineup. Grab a bench when the Expos play their strong cards. Wednesday. A dazzling round-the-world concert. Performers in Canada and 16 other countries together by satellite. A world of music. Sunday.
Welcome back to our World Cup Control Center in Mexico City. Halftime at Olimpico Stadium in the game between France and Italy.
They say that music is the universal language and the soccer is the universal sport. Well, the French team and their mascot, the French Rooster, combined the two and came up with this music video that we thought you might enjoy.
Souviens-toi, leur légende est née ce jour-là, c'est Lola. Ils mettent les stades en folie et 4 ans après, les revoilà chauds de sang. Ils nous ont mijoté des passes chaudes devant. Des passes, oui, mais de platine. Les gourmands, les amateurs de bons spectacles vont être servis. Ah! Viva, viva, viva les Bleus. On terre fait qu'ils vont jouer comme des dieux. Viva, viva, viva les Bleus. Les sombreros n'auront plus Dieu que pour eux. Viva, viva, viva les Bleus. Ils sont là, oui, oui, sur les pelouses du Mexique. Il y a du fou de champagne dans la pampa. Ces bleus-là, aux pieds malins, aux pieds magiques, ils ont plus d'un tour sous leur pas. Alors que la fiesta commence au pays, du soleil et des mariachis, cette nuit, c'est plus du foot, c'est de la danse, et viva la vie, viva, viva.
Well, it's not likely to be a #1 hit, but the French won't complain as long as they're #1 at World Cup '86. The Samba beat was a hit yesterday as Brazil beat Poland. We'll have highlights of that game and Argentina's victory over Uruguay next. The Labatt TV series returns in a moment.
There's heart in this land, it's there in all we do. That's why hands across this country reach for the blue. And when we get together, it's a taste that's clean and true. So when you call, then you call for the blue. You know it's gotta be blue, that's why you call for the blue. That's why you call for your blue. It's time to call for the blue.
The next 45 minutes will be a true test of Italy's championship medal as they trail France 1-0 at Olimpico Stadium. And whichever team wins this game won't have much time to celebrate. They'll meet Brazil on Saturday, and the Brazilians strengthen their claim as the favorites in this competition with an impressive effort yesterday in Guadalajara against Poland. Although Poland had the first good chance of the game on this shot by Carras right off the bar, and it remains scoreless. But then a big break for Brazil late in the first half. Careca is taken down in the box by Tarasevic, and that led to a penalty kick for Socrates, and he won't miss. Socrates swings the leg and beats Milinarchuk to give Brazil a 1-0 lead. Second half, and this is one of the budding stars of World Cup '86. Josimar beats a couple of men, and what a great goal by Josimar, who was a late addition to the Brazilian team. It's 2-0 for Brazil. The last flicker of hope for Poland was this shot by Boniek. What a scissor kick, but it just went by the goal, and then Brazil completely took over. Careca backheel to Adino. Adino with a nice move, and it was 3-0 Brazil, and they were celebrating in Guadalajara. One more free kick, this one by Careca off one post and over the line. 4-0. Brazil moves on to the next round with an impressive victory over Poland. Meantime, two other South American teams were meeting as well, trying to advance along with Brazil, and it was Argentina with the victory over Uruguay of 1-0, so they advanced to the next round as well. We'll have highlights of the first half between Italy and France coming up, but first, let's take a look at these highlights.
And there we see a delighted crowd. They've been very, very fascinated by this high-class football game between the world champions Italy and the European champions France. France going ahead in 14 minutes with a fine goal by Platini, as we saw, started by Fernandez, and the French midfield having woven their patterns, and the Italians, as expected, very stout in defense. A crowd which has participated in this game fully, but a happy crowd rather than a boisterous one, and eager anticipation to see if Italy can come back, as Tony said, in this second half and push men forward and get on terms with this French side and then go ahead. There we see the great Michel Platini, the goal scorer.
And I think France should remember history a little bit, because they played twice, once in 1938 where France were beaten 3-1, and that's the year that Italy won the World Cup. But in 1978 in Argentina, Italy won 2-1 in the first round match between the two teams. But they were down 1-0, and they did come from behind. So can they do it again today?
And Italy, of course, with great tradition behind them in this World Cup. They've played in 11 out of the 13. They've only been absent in 1930 and 1958, and they've won the competition 3 times and are the present holders. So this game is still finely poised, despite the fact that France have a 1-goal lead. Referee just checking that all the players are ready, and the second half starts. And Italy have made a substitute. Number 14, Di Gennaro, has come on. And number 11, Giuseppe Baresi, who was originally brought on to mark Michel Platini, is off. So Italy have made one of their allowable 2 substitutes. Di Gennaro gets an early touch. Good playmaker and tries to find Altobelli on the far side, and does. Beautiful ball. Altobelli beats his man well, but it's hooked into touch by France. Battiston, the sweeper, puts it into touch without ceremony, and it's a throw for Italy.
Italy has now gone back to the lineup that got them through the first 3 games, of course. with Degenera being a little bit more of a playmaker than Barisi was. So now we should see the form of Italy that we're all used to.
And it's a kick to Italy. Italy immediately exerting pressure on this French side. Bruno Conti takes this kick. And the penalty area is packed. Cabrini went in, a scissor kick, Joel bats up, ball reach, catches cleanly. We have a Frenchman in pain in the lower back area, but on his feet. And there is the Italian substitute, Antonio Di Gennaro. Plays for Hellas Verona, the same side, in fact, that the great Preben Elkjær of Denmark plays for. Now France attacking in the form of Amoros. Stopyra's in the middle. That's straight to an Italian head. Michel Platini. Cabrini back to Alain Giresse. Ayash on the left side, back to Giresse. Chance for a French chip. Platini's fell in the penalty area. What will the referee do about that one? Nothing, it seems. And Italy come away with it. Bagni to Di Gennaro. Galdarese. Nicely balanced and quick on the acceleration, but trying to do too much there. So France will bring it out. Fernandez. 2 long-range shots in the first half, one of which, the second, hit the crossbar. Amoros had a very good first half for France. To Fernandez again. Alain Giresse coming back for it, giving it to Fernandez. Jean Tigana waiting in the center circle. But Battiston flicking it out on the right. Ayash looks for forwards in space. Platini, a little touch to Giresse. But the Italian cover up to that challenge, and they will come away down the right side. Viechaward, Di Gennaro, looking for Conti. Conti not coming in quickly enough. France come away with it rather than nudging it back to Joel Bat. Amoros again. Little flick on to Giresse. Pushes it back neatly. Bossis into Fernandez. Back to Bossis. France probing the right side. Rocheteau on the right side coming in for it. Alain Giresse signaling he wants it and gets it. Switches to the left side, Amoros making progress. French mounting their attack very strategically now. And a long shot by Amoros, but wide of the upright.
France doing a good job in their build-up there. They're switching the ball from side to side, moving the Italian defense around and trying to get through for a shot. But it's fairly slow build-up right now, and the game has started fairly slow, and I think the pressure is more on the Italians. They have to get themselves back into this game fairly quickly.
Altobelli. Well covered, and Bossis going in very quickly when he sensed that Altobelli had momentarily lost control of that ball. Chance for a long throw. Number 2, Bergomi coming for it. Takes a quick one instead, but it's intercepted by an alert French defender. Rocheteau on the left side. Amoros on the ball, coming away at speed. Now a chance for France. Giresse. Stopyra's in the middle. Now he moves to the right. Michel Platini here. Rocheteau on his left. Second attempt. Oh, and tries to flick it nonchalantly wide of the goalkeeper, but that was off target, but France threaten again.
Platini there showing a bit of a brilliance as he used the defenders, and he tried to first to bend the ball around to the far post, got the rebound back, and just shut wide.
And his sights were just a little bit out of alignment there. Otherwise, that could have been a second goal to France, but they're posting a warning to Italy that they're not going to be content to sit on a 1-goal lead. And of course, if Italy are to bring men forward, they also run the risk of exposing themselves at the back and giving a lot of space to this eager French attack. Jean Tigana to Rocheteau. The flowing black mane of Rocheteau, and tries a long one, but not on target.
I think he'd been watching his teammate Fernandez shoot and thought, well, I think I'll give it a try too, but not as successful as Fernandez.
Dominique Rocheteau plays for Paris Saint-Germain, one of the most brilliant forwards that France has had in this generation. A little bit unpredictable, however, sometimes temperamental, but when he's playing on form, he's very, very good indeed. Galderisi, a nice flick, but just a little bit off target. And Fernandez, the long-legged, ground-devouring strides of Fernandez. When he comes through the middle at speed, he's formidable. By contrast, the short stature of Alain Giresse, but equally competent. Amoros on the left, loves to forage up the left side. Chips it over. Platini, a chance. Nudges it back for Giresse, and Giresse tries one, but it's wide. Disappointed there, didn't really get hold of it and strike it with any power.
Very well put together again by France. They've shifted the ball wide, got it back in. Platini brought it down so well and set it up for Giresse, but not as good a finish, I'm sure, as he would have liked.
So now Italy with a chance. France playing with sufficient confidence to suggest, certainly at this stage, with 7 minutes gone in the second half, that Italy, the current world champions, have a major task on their hands. If they can solve the problem, it may be that man rolling around on the edge of the area, number 18, Altobelli. But it's France in possession to Alain Giresse, getting well into the game, this pocket dynamo for France. French midfield playing very well now. Giresse again, very, very competent at finding space. John Tigana in support, Platini inside Tigana. Giresse moving, tries a forward run, finds space beautifully, despite the packed nature of the defense, and France another chance, and Italy pleased to hook it clear. Bruno Conti. To Cabrini. Cabrini must spend some time coming forward in support. Bagny, number 10. Altobelli up there, Galderisi up there. He tries a long one to Conti, but it hasn't enough power. That looked a bit like a handball to me. The referee agrees, and France take the quickly. Platini to Tigana. Rocheteau on the right. Giresse is in the center. Gets it. Stopyra's on his right. Giresse beats his man. He has a chance here. He's down in the area. There's an appeal, but the referee says play on.
And again, the Italians backing in, and it's just giving the French team a chance to come forward. Much too easy.
Battiston tackles Galderisi there. Referee adjudges that he went for the ball. Battiston very quick to make his decision there, and France will come out. Fernandez to Platini. Back to Fernandez. France finding a lot of space. Stopyra wandered to the left. The Echeward back to the goalkeeper. And Italy switch play to the left side. Di Gennaro, the substitute, tries a long ball. Conti racing for it, but doesn't have the legs to get it. Into touch French throw. And the Labatt TV series will return after this message.
Looking for tips on outdoor cooking? Ask a 50 problem solver.
Hey, do you remember when we hooked up my bicycle to the barbecue to make the spit turn?
Boy, did we cycle for our supper, eh?
Sure did.
Hey, but whose idea was it to drill holes through the bone in the roast to put the spit in, huh?
You're also the one who promised fish for dinner. I see corn on the cob was biting today.
You'll never find a better bunch.
50's the one.
You'll never find a better beer.
You've got it.
And back in Olympic Stadium, Mexico City, a foul by Bagny on Amoros, who throughout this game has come forward from his left-back position with pace and creativity. Quick kick taken by Michel Platini to Jean Tigana. Platini almost being too casual now, finds Amoros. Italy not displaying the urgency that one would expect. A goal down and 10 minutes gone in the second half. Dominique Rocheteau will be penalized there by the Argentinian referee, Carlos Esposito, and Italy take the quick kick and must now start to press forward with increasing eagerness. Conti flicks it back. Di Gennaro. Rocheteau challenging. Agni. To Di Napoli. The French there in numbers and dispossessing. Platini to Fernandez, to Rocheteau, to Tigana. This is a French build-up with some precision. Tigana free, puts it back to Rocheteau. Can he get his shot in? But Stopyra makes no mistake about it, and I think that might be enough for this French team. They've certainly been on top throughout this game, and there one of their young strikers finishing it off very neatly when the Italian defense were found wanting.
Tigana to Rocheteau, and Rocheteau a little bit lucky on the bounce across to Stopyra, who just didn't finish it. But what a tremendous piece of build-up and interplay amongst the French players. Tremendous understanding and a good finish by Stopyra.
Stopyra struck it very well indeed, stayed calm and found the gap between goalkeeper and goal post. And France, who had given us some concern because although they have a superb midfield, there was some question about their strikers, seem to have found the recipe by playing Rocheteau and Stopyra up front. And they still have Jean-Pierre Papin, who played striker against Canada and had so many attempts on goal before eventually scoring. So France it is, 2 goals ahead. And Fernandez had his shirt pulled there by number 17, Gianluca Vialli, who's been brought on as the Italian substitute. So Gianluca Vialli, a forward. Italy have brought on some forward power to try to pull back this game. He's not particularly elegant, but he's very eager and willing to take men on and may secure free kicks even if he doesn't get an actual strike on goal. So Italy now have committed their 2 substitutes to this game and cannot any longer bring men on. And Tigana slots that beautiful ball to Stopyra on the right. Well dispossessed, but the referee has penalized. Kick taken quickly by Italy. So Italy now must show their skill and their character as defending world champions to pull this game out of the fire, because in the fire it certainly is the way France are playing. Vialli will perhaps inject some eagerness and energy into this Italian side, because they've certainly not demonstrated any urgency in this second half to date, and 13 minutes have gone. So now is their chance. They must counter-attack now and get on terms. Blocked by France, and France in possession. Rocheteau nudges it back, and it's a long ball. And the fullback's onside and can't finish, which is perhaps why he is a fullback. But superb play there by Amarok. He's run a long, long way today.
And again, it's a nice he comes from the back. Lovely ball knocked into him, but just a little bit lacking on the finish. I think he wanted to hit that with the outside of his foot and try and bend it back in, but it just serves notice to Italy that if you're going to go forward, you've got to take those chances of being caught.
And they have to take the chance because they are 2 goals down. And we've already almost finished the first 15 minutes of the second half. There's a chance now for Italy. Oh, and Joel Bass presumably knew he had that covered, but a dangerous moment there for France.
Well, as we see as he shoots, Altobelli comes into the picture on the far side, and he turns around and he gives him a bit of a yell. I'm not sure what for, but almost a chance for them. And I'm not sure that Bass knew that Altobelli was there.
I think Altobelli was wanting a little more precise delivery to increase his goals from 4 to 5.
So far, he is responsible for all the Italian scoring, and I guess maybe that's one of Italy's problems right now is he's the only one that has scored goals for them, and he's been well handled today by the French defense.
So Joel back with attention from Altobelli, which the referee does not like. So fast it is. who has been... well, we're not quite sure what's happening here. Altobelli, I think, put his foot up as the goalkeeper was trying to clear. So drop kicks the ball deep downfield, much like he did when Platini fastened onto it and France scored in an earlier game. But now, Vialli not quite fast enough, and the wave is in operation here in Olympic Stadium. Hot in Mexico City, hot and altitude, but these players handling it very well indeed. And France with that extra energy, which results from being 2 goals in the lead. Bagni. Out to Di Gennaro. Nice move there. Vialli, good ball. Di Napoli gets the cross in. Altobelli was hovering, but it was a French boot that put that ball over the goal line for a corner to Italy.
And that's one of the best moves we've seen from Italy so far, willing to go forward. Now, this has not been one of their best performances by far, and they need to look a little sharper. They just don't look sharp enough.
This will be an in-swinging corner taken with the left foot, and there are a lot of blue jerseys in this goal mouth. And a good attempt at a volley by Vialli there. Gianluca Vialli volleyed that, but didn't get over the top of the ball.
As he was watching it come all the way down, it's amazing that he had this much time to have a shot with that ball as well, because the French defense was looking a bit, but he just didn't get over it enough to bring it down.
So Joel back for the goal kick. It's a long one, and it's Stopyra in possession, and he's fouled. Fouled by Bergomi, so it's a kick to France. Esposito done a good job in refereeing this game. Been on top of everything. Clearly passed his fitness test for referees, because he's managed to keep up with play very well indeed. Chance for Italy to counter-attack. Bagni trying to take on 3 men, but he's fouled, and it's a kick to Italy. Not looking too happy with that at all. Somewhat unwilling to take the apologies of the Frenchman, but now accepts Fernandez's apology.
I think some of that is more frustration with himself and probably his team altogether for their performance today, because it has not been one of the best ones we've seen of Italy, but they are still capable of coming back. We've seen it in the past.
And that was a good attempt to get that ball through to Conti. Conti's still full of running, despite the fact that he's 31 years of age now, but still a very eager competitor. Criticized in the earlier game played by Italy, in fact in the first game, the opening game, for not getting too much commitment, but he's improved in every game we've seen him since then. And the fighting for the ball between Di Napoli and Platini. Guasto pushes it back to Fernandez. France looking very confident indeed, and looking eager to continue to increase this lead, and it's a good attitude to have, because to sit back on a 2-goal lead is not necessarily a wise move. Di Napoli. French head firmly in contact with that ball, and it's into touch for an Italian throw. And World Cup 86 on CBC Sports will continue after this message.
Petro-Canada is proud to support Canada's national team and youth soccer across Canada.
I'll stand with the best in the world.
Petro-Canada, Our energy is Canada.
Welcome back to the heat and altitude of the Olympic Stadium in Mexico City. France ahead 2 goals to 0 as a result of goals by Platini and Stopyra. Platini in the 14th minute of the first half, Stopyra in the second half. And Di Gennaro is going to get a yellow card there from the referee, Mr. Esposito of Argentina. Di Gennaro, who came on as an Italian substitute, and that tackle on Giresse received the yellow card from the referee. We've talked a lot about the soundness of the Italian defense, Sam, but I think the French defense have played very well in this game.
The French defense have played very well, a lot of times very underrated, because, of course, we always talk about the French midfield that does so well, but it has won them games in the past, but it's also lost them that because going forward so much, they didn't defend so well. But today, they're defending very well.
And that's a beautiful effort there by the ever-eager Fernandez, perhaps the hardest worker of this midfield, and certainly very threatening.
Well, again, he snuck in around the back, lost Herrera, and tried for a full volley there, which is very difficult on the run like that, but did manage to shake himself free.
I've been very impressed with the play of the French defender, Amoros.
Amoros has played very well, and I think he's probably as good as any of the fullbacks in this tournament. But today, the French defense, no doubt about it, playing very well. But they still have to be careful that as their midfield and the rest don't get too complacent, because they are winning 2-0.
There we see Vialli, strong as an ox, doesn't admit defeat, and though he's not a pretty player, he's a very, very hard worker and will pose some threat to this French defense. Italy a corner, taken quickly by Vialli. Referee says no, we want it taking again. Let's have the thing done properly. The ball must be absolutely stationary, must be within the semicircle, and so this time Bagny will take it. But that's a bad corner and headed away by France. And Rocheteau, and now some space on the right side for Alain Giresse. Has a quick look up. Hayat on the right, overlapping. Giresse chips, but it's an Italian head, and Vieco gets to it, and now Attali can move away. Vialli on the right side. Very powerful player. Difficult to dispossess. Bruno Conti. Conti almost leaving it too late. Fernandez almost dispossessing, but Conti still has it. Di Gennaro was going through the middle, but Battiston it was who headed it out. Now a chance for France to counter. Michel Platini. Giresse on a run to the left, which is where fitness is beginning to show too. Bossis to Rocheteau. Alain Giresse well forward. But that one is too strong, and Italy will run it clear. Moving towards the 25-minute mark of this second half. The altitude and heat beginning to take its effect. Noticeable that Michel Platini earlier on, we watched him carefully, did a lot of standing around, playing in spurts, trying to gain recovery during the game. But when you do that, of course, you put extra stress on the remaining 10 men. Di Gennaro, Italy probing, Altobelli back, Bagny. But France clear. Now there's a chance for French numerical superiority to Platini, who was hanging around in the center circle waiting for that one. Alain Giresse. Battiston up from sweeper, chipping it to Platini, looking for support. Swings it to the far side to Stopyra, who gets his head up to it. Nobody knew where that ball was. Stopyra thinks he's got lots of time, and he doesn't, but he beats his man. And twice, and it's off an Italian foot for a French throw. So now France threatening at the Italian end. Alain Giresse to take the throw. Players taking an opportunity to recover. John Tigana. Back to Giresse. To Tigana. Dances his way into the penalty area. That's a nice ball for a chance. Platini not able to get hold of that one. France still in possession. Fernandez might try a long one, but swings it right instead. Ayesh doesn't have the pace to get to it, and a throw to Italy. France looking threatening, and there extra French support.
The Italians again looking like they're backed in, and a few of them look like they have their heads down, and I'm sure they're very frustrated, but they've got to keep going, because right now France is definitely again gone back into a controlling factor with the midfield and are coming forward very confidently.
Di Napoli. Bruno Conti coming for it. No criticism of Conti today. He's done a lot of work and has showed an eagerness for the ball. Wandered from left side to right side and then through the middle. Bergomi and Conti again. Inspiring the younger players, trying hard to get that cross, still with possession. Gets his cross in, but back competently dealing with that high ball. Altobelli not threatening. Now suggesting to the referee that the goalkeeper's wasting time. High clearance by Bat, but into touch. Somewhat futile for Rocheteau to chase that one. Game seems to have settled. There seems to be this lack of urgency by this Italian side again.
Well, definitely all the pressure's on them. They have to come out, and France knows that. And they're just playing at the pace that they want to play at, and if the Italians want to pick it up, they're going to have to do it.
2 goals down, 26 minutes gone in the second half. Vialli gets it back from Di Gennaro. To Bagny, beats his man nicely and gets his cross in. Cabrini came in and there's a chance there, but Bax is able to cover it by the near post.
Very good save by Bax. He was quick to get across. I think it was Bruno Conti that got that shot in there. And again, Italy now having to press a bit, putting men forward, and there comes Conti in from the back.
Italy again in possession. Bergomi to Di Napoli. The Ekawad to Vialli. Pushing it inside to Di Napoli. Slow build-up. French just dropping back in numbers to cover all the spaces. Altobelli's on the far side and they find him. Very good tackling there by Bossi.
As we've seen in the other games, that's where Altobelli is the most dangerous. He manages to drift to the outside, and it can cause France some problems.
And off comes number 9, who's played a superb game for France, who's run for miles, Luis Fernandez. And his replacement will be Thierry Tussaud. Good experience for Thierry Tussaud, who will likely play for France in their next game, assuming, of course, that they retain this lead, because Ayash will have to sit out as a spectator as a result of a second yellow card. Cabrini in the penalty area as Conti tries to make ground down the left side. Turning on a dime, but very close attention by Ayash and puts the ball into touch for an Italian throw, taken by Conti. Vialli wandered across and gets his cross in, but nobody's on hand to use it. So a goal kick to France to be taken by Bass. And World Cup 86 on CBC Sports will continue in a moment. Back in Olympic Stadium, Mexico City, Sam Lenarduzzi and Jeff Gowan. France ahead, 2-0, coming up to the 30-minute mark of the second half. And the writing beginning to appear on the wall for the world champions. That's a beautiful ball to Rocheteau, but he didn't have the legs to get there, and Scirea back to the Italian goalkeeper. What would you think the strategy is in bringing Thierry Tussaud on as the substitute there for Fernandez?
Well, I would think with Ayash, because of his 2 yellow cards, not being able to play the next game, Tussaud is a defender, and I would imagine that he will be his replacement. So it gives him a chance to get into actual game situation so that when he has to start the next game, he's ready to go.
So Henri Michel, the French manager, clearly thinking ahead. Managed France to the 84 Olympic gold. Here is Italy challenging, but a header out by Bossi over the goal line for an Italian corner. So they're threatening sporadically, but unable to mount a concerted and persistent attack. Here comes the cross. Back comes out, doesn't really get hold of it. Challenged by Vialli, but Tussaud it was who was able to come out. Bagny hurdling his man, leaving a mark, and France head into touch for an Italian throw. There we see the substitute having a rough time of it, only been on the field for 3 minutes, but already knowing that he's in a game. Bagni taking that throw, shielding the ball back to Bagni. Chance for a quick cross, blocked a corner off Tuso. Tuso's been hit in a tackle, and we see Fernandez, who went off. We see that little thin tape that he normally wears on that leg, and now heavily bandaged and probably with some ice on there. And it would be a great tragedy for France, assuming they go through in this game, if they were to lose Fernandez, because he is inspirational and powerful in that midfield. French head flicks it away, Viercowod. Couldn't get a head on it, and France headed away. Conti now to chip, but nobody there, and back able to handle it easily. Amoros back to bat. Vialli on hand. Bats fools him with that dummy throw and puts it out to the right side. 32 minutes gone. France 2, Italy 0. The European champions at the moment in command over the world champions. Alain Giresse puts it to Rocheteau. Coming into the last 13 or 14 minutes, and this is where fitness and concentration and character all show. Another chance for Italy. Bagni trying to go through, but trying to do too much, and France happy to clear away. Platini finding himself in lots of room and depending upon his teammates to take that extra work for him. Amoros has given everything today up this left touchline, and there chopped around the ankle by Viercowod.
France making very good use of its fullbacks and defenders to come through into the attack, and Amoros has been probably in the offensive end as much as he's been in his own defensive end. And Richwood just a little bit late coming in for this tackle here. And Amoros just didn't jump high enough.
Vialli on hand, but Amoros up. I agree with you entirely, Sam. He's played a sterling game for France. And in this case, apart from having a bruise on his ankle, he's also earned a kick for France, and it's a dangerous area, and Galli has every right to look nervous in the Italian goal. So it's a two-man Italian wall, Vialli and Di Gennaro. Stopyra's in there, Rocheteau's in there, looks a short 10 yards to me. That's a bad ball, and Italy clear, but it's French possession. Amoros recovered, and Vialli chases back to tackle back. Lots of energy because he's a substitute. Bruno Conti. Cabrini moving forward as he must. Bagni. The Italians finding a little more space now as this French defense tires. But there we see the effects of fatigue and concentration and inaccuracy technically. Di Gennaro unable to really control that ball when he had a chance to threaten, and no real excuse for him because he was one of the Italian substitutes and therefore hasn't played the full game.
But I think we're seeing in both teams a little bit of tiredness creeping in on both sides, and this next little while I'm sure that France just wants to hold on to its lead, and it'll play going forward, but I'm sure trying to keep possession at the same time, because it's Italy that has to come at them.
This a great chance for the technically excellent French midfield to control play and keep possession and make the Italians do some running. Platini certainly not challenging and tackling back in the way that Maradona showed us yesterday, but being on hand when it matters. So Altobelli was hustled and fouled, and it's a kick to Italy for that foul by Bottit, and that's a quick one to Vialli, and might have caught the French defense by surprise, but didn't. But it's these quick counterattacks that may bring the results, but they're running out of time for them. 10 minutes remaining in this second half. France ahead 2-0. It's a long and hard road for Italy to follow if they are to get back 2 goals to force this game into extra time. And certainly on their performance today, it would not seem to be possible. Alain Giresse pushes it through to Stopyra, but the Italian defense clear. And now a chance. Bruno Conti on the left. Altobelli's up there. Altobelli has a chance. But France headed out for a corner. Rossi deciding to concede the corner rather than to try to play around foolishly in this penalty area. So Italy with another chance. Bruno Conti to take this corner. Referee waves play on. French head gets to it and beats Bagny, and Alain Giresse on hand to clear, challenged by Vialli. That's handball. Clearly handball by Vialli. Controlled the ball with his hand. The ball did not hit his hand or arm. Italy having to get 10 yards away. Kick is quickly taken to Michel Platini. A lot of the players are now down to walking pace. And that's a brave run on the left side, but it's going to result in nothing. So he'll have to come back again. The ever-present Amoros. Platini, a nice touch to Giresse. Back to Platini. This could be dangerous. Back to Giresse. To Platini again, a two-man show. Challenged by the French, and a trip by Platini, and that kick will be given to Italy, and Platini apologizes, and the apology is accepted by De Napoli.
There again, Giresse and Platini showing you how well they know each other and get along with each other so well, passing the ball back and forth a couple of times. But what it is doing is, of course, it's eating up the time, eating up Italy's valuable time of trying to get back into this game.
Altobelli working very hard and winning another corner for Italy. And he's so eager to get on with play, he takes it himself. Bruno Conti on hand to help. Conti and Altobelli. Altobelli, Conti. But Stopyra back. The striker back doing some work in defense. This French team very much playing as a team. Stopyra to Alain Giresse. Tigana, who's had a quieter game, I think, today for France.
Quieter, but he's been very efficient, and I think he's done a bit more defending maybe than he has attacking, because we know him as a good attacking player, but a good performance all around by France so far.
Platini to Stopyra, back to Tigana, to Platini. France now knocking this ball about nonchalantly. That was a majestic sort of dance, but there was no music, and it will be a kick against Italy. Foul on Giresse by Chirea, the captain, and so this could be very dangerous. Now we will see the effectiveness of France's set plays. Now what is happening here? Are we going to see Michel Platini leave this game and have the second and final French substitution? Yes. The captaincy is handed over to Jean Tigana. We wondered about Platini's energy expenditure a little while ago, and Platini is off. The French captain and scorer of the first goal is coming off. The applause of this enthusiastic French crowd. And he will be replaced by number 11, Ferreri. Ferreri comes on, Platini goes off. Just 6 minutes to play in this game. France ahead, 2-0. The French free kick, and the wall again does its job.
I think that changes much to give Platini a rest and get him ready for what I'm sure France right now is looking ahead to their next game against Brazil, which should be just a tremendous game. But they still have the 4 or 5 minutes to finish this game. But Platini will have 5 minutes more rest.
So Jean-Marc Ferreri, number 11, comes on with 5 minutes to play, and that man is the new captain of France. Jean Tigana wearing the captain's armband. France in possession. Battiston, who's played a good game at sweeper, to Alain Giresse, to Rocheteau. Men in the middle, can't get his ball across. But the corner is there, and there's another chance for France to move ahead. Already leading 2-0. And 5 minutes on our watch to play. Giresse firmly tackled. Goal kick has been given by the linesman. Rocheteau thought it was a corner, but Bruno Conti quickly showed him otherwise. And they have to take this quickly because it's close to a miracle if the world champions are going to survive. And so in about 4 minutes, France can start to think of the ways in which they are going to have to cope with Brazil in the quarterfinals. Vialli fouled, kick to France. Amoros fouled him, but number 19, Stopyra, one of the strikers, back helping his defenders. Last desperate hope for Italy. Quickly taken, Bagni fools them, tries to cross, perhaps should have crossed it the first time with his right foot. Golden opportunity wasted there by Bagni trying to get the ball back on the left foot.
But it just seems the way that things have gone for Italy today. They just seem to be that one step behind France all game. It's just unfortunate for them, and looks like they're going to have a trip home to Italy tomorrow.
Rocheteau. Defenders in close attention. Di Napoli there. And the free kick has been given by the referee to France. Ferreri going on his own. Direct open and nudges it to Ferreri. Oh, so close. And that is a corner off the fingertips of Galli. It could have been 3-0. Italy relaxed in defense there and almost let France through.
We got to give Ferreri a good shot, but what a good save by Galli. He managed to get down real quick, get his hand on that ball, and it's probably the first time he's had a chance to get to one of the balls at all.
Very, very quick reflexes as we see the tricolor of France waving triumphantly. Corner to France. Played back hard along the ground to Amoros, and here comes the cross. Ayash ever eager to get on the end of that ball, but not so, and it's a goal kick. 2 goals up and 2 minutes to go for the European champions against the defending world champions. We've seen some high-class football today. We've seen the game generally played in a very good spirit and well refereed by Mr. Carlos Esposito. We've seen none of the petty activities that we've seen in some of the earlier games, and this has been high entertainment by 2 high-class sides. And at the moment, it's almost certain, short of a miracle, that Italy, the world champions, are going to go out. Nice cross by Ayash into the hands of goalkeeper Galli. And now we're definitely in the last minute and a half by our timing, with very little time to add on, and Bruno Conti continuing to run down that left side. Chance of a long one. Well struck. And Bax couldn't hold that one, but able to get the knockdown before any Italian predator was on hand. So France bring it out.
And Italy, to their credit, are still coming forward. They'd like to try and at least get 1 goal back. But I think it's going to be France's day by the look of it here.
Alain Giresse pushes it back. Now Stopyra on the right side. Played a good game, this young man, and scored France's 2nd goal. The beautifully struck right foot shot. Tigana, the captain in the absence of Platini. Rocheteau free on the left side. Waiting for help. Chipping it through, but Italy nodded away. So Vialli pushes it inside. And that is it. And the world champions are out, and the European champions are through. And we've had a fine game, played in good spirit, with a good exhibition of skill and good football.
Italy, again, very unfortunate, didn't have the best of days, but France were on the top of their game. Midfield playing very well, Platini playing very well, very difficult to stop. So now they look ahead to Brazil, and of course, the Italians look forward to their trip home.
And I think despite the immense power of the French midfield, we've seen very, very fine play by both the French defenders and by their 2 strikers, Rocheteau and Stopyra. So a fine 2-0 victory by France. And World Cup 86 on CBC Sports will continue after this message.